Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining me here today so that we can discuss Robocop 3. So in Robocop 3, OCP is right on the brink of being able to achieve like their ultimate goal of completely rebuilding Detroit from the ground up, the way that they want it to be to best profit them and run it with this tyrannical iron fist. To that end, though, they need to get massive amounts of land. To do that, they start to basically mass deport people due to like made up fake criminal charges, rooting people out of their homes, forcefully taking over blocks of property. Now, the police are doing their best, but they're like severely up against it because you've got military forces, basically private military coming in to kick these people out of their homes and get them out of the city. And at the same time, there is a little bit of a resistance that keeps growing, and eventually Robocop joins that resistance. And OCP plans to battle him by unleashing an arsenal of robotic ninjas. And that's the movie here. So Robocop 3 does not, in my opinion, line up with Robocop 1 and 2. 2 is obviously like kind of a scaled down version of 1. This is an infinitely scaled down version of the franchise. Peter Weller isn't back. The new Robocop voice just kind of kills it for me right out of the gate. You can tell that there's not as much money here. There's not as much care put into the storyline. It just doesn't really match up with 1 and 2. It really can't keep pace. So I understand why people don't like this movie from that perspective. However, there is a huge caveat to that because Robocop 3 is, if you're like me and you like wild movies, so bad they're good movies, this is kind of a masterpiece of terrible, ridiculous decision making. You have Robocop versus these like robotic modern day samurai gangsters, which is fantastic. It's got an absolutely just bananas conclusion. It takes a little while to build up some of those like B-movie vibes, but once they get going, it's just it just compounds as the movie goes on, and by the finale, it's just completely basically batshit crazy, which I love. So is it a good movie? No. Is it a proper cap off to the Robocop trilogy? I think most people probably would say no. I certainly think it's a different style and it's a different approach, but I think it's so just outlandish that it works sometimes. You've got Robocop like flying. You just have a lot of really fun B-movie stuff here. To me, this almost feels like Canon made a Robocop movie, which, I think is really cool. So I get it. I don't think that it, lives up to the first two, but I think it's just so ridiculous that I've got to give it kind of a thumbs up because it is, at the end of the day, I watch movies to be entertained. And while this movie, again, was a disappointment from the perspective of a Robocop fan wanting a, just epic finish to this, as a fan of bad movies, I think this movie is hilarious and has a lot of entertainment to offer if you're into that. But that's my review for Robocop 3. If you want to check out more, I've got a full movie review playlist right here on YouTube. But thank you so much for watching this one, and hopefully I'll see you soon.